I do, Brent, and I'm going to start off by just having us take a look at the geographical map of the country now, just to get a good sense of where we are. As you can see, that map is starting to colour up really nicely over there for us, as, of course, that time zone is shifting from east to west. Like I said earlier on, everything that you see in solid red has gone to Donald Trump. Everything in solid blue has gone to Joe Biden at this stage. So look at that sort of like red line going down the middle of the country: North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas. Those all go into the Trump stock, so to say. As you said, Brent, earlier, there has been no upsets at this stage. New York, Virginia, Colorado, New Mexico, these are all states that we did expect would go to Joe Biden. But now let's break it down in terms of those places where we are watching the race on a state-by-state basis. Look at Texas now, 38 electoral college votes up for grabs there. And we can see Donald Trump does have the lead over Joe Biden over there, albeit from really a small marginal percentage. 69% of the votes have been counted in Texas. That's one that we will continue to watch. We can also show you another state now, and that would be the state of Florida. 29 electoral college votes up for grabs in Florida. It's been said that it's going to be very difficult for Donald Trump to make his way back to the White House if he doesn't secure this one. 91% of the votes have been counted, and Donald Trump does have a slight lead over Biden in that state. And so that is Florida with 29 electoral college votes. Another state we can show you is Ohio. 18 electoral college votes there. As Ohio goes, so goes the nation. That's because Ohio's voted for the winner of every election since 1964. And we can see, again, Trump in the lead, 51% to Joe Biden's 47%. And, of course, 77% of that vote has been counted in the state of Ohio. One more state for you, and that would be Arizona. This would firmly be a Republican state. But right now, it could go either way. And, in fact, with 70% of the votes in, we can see Joe Biden, a firm lead over Donald Trump, almost 10% lead over Donald Trump, 54% to 44%, nearly 45% Donald Trump. Now, let us show you what that means in terms of that magic number that we are watching tonight, and that is 270, the number needed to secure the White House. As it stands, Biden firmly in the lead with 131 points, Donald Trump trailing with 98 points in that all-important electoral college vote. So that is the state of the race as it stands. I will now hand you back over.
Ines Pohl, our Washington bureau chief, she is in the U.S. Capitol, and Oliver Salet is in Joe Biden's home state of Delaware. Let's go to Ines first. Good evening to you, Ines. Talk to me a little bit about what you've been seeing there in front of the White House tonight.
Thank you. You look amazing.
Yes, I'm standing in front of the White House, and thank you, sir, for talking to me.
Yeah, most
Be
definitely.
safe.
Yeah.
So you see, Brent, it's getting crowded here. We just had a little incident with the police and some protesters. It was unclear what exactly happened, but I think what we really experience right now, that a little something really can fire up a big group. It was very peaceful before we saw this one masked man running towards the White House, followed by the police, and then within less than 2 minutes, many people came here, shouted. Some of them were shooting some fireworks. So this pretty much describes the situation of the United States. And as we see the results coming in, and it seems to be like a really tight race, this is something we might have to witness over the next hours to come, and maybe over the next days.
Yeah, Oliver, in Delaware, we are looking at a race that is so close to call. I mean, it really is a tied race, if you will. Joe Biden's supporters, I'm sure this is not what they wanted to see at this stage. They must be biting their nails right now.
They certainly are, Brent. There have been no surprises until now. None of the big battleground states have been called either. So it's pretty much open until now, everything, and it continues to be a nail biter, as you say. There's a sense of nervousness here right now. A lot of people are putting their hopes in this. Many people told us today at the polling station that this is the most important election of their lifetimes, and that is also something that we've witnessed when we traveled the United States together with Ines Pohl, who's just reporting from the White House, and we've spoken to Trump supporters, we've spoken to people from the Biden side of the political aisle, and they all believe that no matter what happens here tonight, it is very important for them and for the future of their country.
Ines, you know, we're still waiting for major states to be called tonight. Talk to me a little bit about the mood, if we can, in the United States after this marathon campaign that we've just been through.
The country is divided in a way I've never seen before. People kind of have lost the ability to talk with each other, to really, you know, share their political stance and discuss like the best way to bring this country back on track, because COVID-19 has hit the United States of America very, very badly, as many other countries as well. And Brent, as many of our viewers know, there is hardly any social net. So if one loses his or her job, one loses the health care, many are losing their homes. They have to move out, they get evicted. So this is a huge crisis which this country is facing. And the big 1 million question, if I might say so, is who would be the better person to help overcoming this crisis. And it was really interesting as we traveled this country, as Oliver just has mentioned, from one coast to the others. We spoke to Trump supporters who said he's the only one who fights socialism which we, for example, have experienced in Cuba, which we left to move to the United States, and we don't want a Joe Biden and a Kamala Harris to take our freedom away. And then, of course, you have Democrats who say we need a change in the White House because the way Donald Trump conducts his politics, the way he started a trade war with China and other countries, is not the way we can bring like our economy back, because business people need reliability, and what President Trump did is quite the opposite. So there is a deep divide which goes through this United States of America.
Yeah, exactly. You have to ask yourself, how united are these United States of America tonight? Enos Pohl in Washington, Oliver Sallet in Delaware. To both of you, thank you. We'll be checking in with you throughout the evening. Let's bring it back here into the studio, and let's talk about where we are right now. Stacey, let me ask you first. I mean, what do you make of the results? We're still waiting for Florida, for example, and every other state where the results are coming in.
The big ones, yeah.
It's still too close to call.
Yeah, it is. But what you can see is that leading up to this, the past couple of days, Trump has been running like a man who's been looking at the polls and believing them. And what we're seeing so far as the results trickle in is that he's been hemorrhaging certain groups that made him victorious in 2016. So white, educated voters, even some working class white women voters, independents, seniors. So, and these people live mostly, a lot of them live in metropolitan areas. So they're diverse, they're big, they are turned off by the rhetoric by Donald Trump, and you're seeing that. And that's why there are so many states up for play that are normally red states that should not be on the radar, like Arizona, like Florida, like North Carolina, like Georgia. And so while it's close and it's early, this is something that has to trouble the Trump campaign.
Yeah, and Tyson, the demographics here are key, right? I mean, we have actually fewer white voters voting, fewer white voters without college degrees.
Yes, but at the same time, you know, the idea that demographics is destiny has been a play that the Democrats have made in many states for many years, actually decades. I know for my home state of Texas, they say that this is going to be a blue state. They were saying that in 2002, it's 2020. It is still a red state. Every statewide office is held.
It's still a red state, but it's close, and it shouldn't be this close.
Honestly, the demographic profile of Texas is very similar to that of California. So it should actually be much closer to a blue state. Some structural disadvantages for communities in Texas is one of the reasons that it hasn't made the switch. The other, and honestly, this is maybe one of the flaws that we're starting to pull out in the Biden campaign, is the mobilization of certain minority groups, particularly Latinos. And Latinos are obviously a heterodox group. There are Cubans, Cuban Americans, there are Venezuelan Americans, there are Mexican Americans.
Hillary Clinton, she had no problem attracting them in 2016, but Biden has had problems.
Well, she drove up Latino turnout, and that's why you saw some tightening in places like Texas and Arizona and North Carolina. And actually, they invested heavily in trying to turn out those populations by messaging to those populations. The Biden campaign has not been as targeted on those groups because he didn't want to open up a flank to other groups. In contrast, the Trump administration and Trump campaign, to their credit, as we heard, has been hitting this point of socialism quite heavily, which tends to resonate, obviously, with the Cuban and Venezuelan communities that have experiences in Cuba and with Chavez and Maduro in Venezuela and have said, oh my gosh, there's connective tissue between Biden and these regimes that we left. But nothing has really created that kind of voter turnout that we would hope for, or the Democrats would hope for, in states like, but I think all Americans would hope for, in states like Texas, North Carolina, among Latino voters.
And we know that with the exit polls, people have been asked what was most important for you when you went in to cast your vote. And people who voted for Biden said it was racial tensions in the U.S., number one. People voting for Trump said it was the economy.
Yeah, this just shows how huge the divide is between these two groups. And this is why I was really puzzled by so many people who were saying they were undecided. These two men could not be any more different. So, I mean, let's see what happens. But yeah.
Yeah, that's right. The night is still young.